right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start by giving all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Rechak Wadash, double honors to the elders and the apostles and bishops of Great Millstone, whom I learn this truth from. Peace and salutations to those elect of the nation of Yasharallah Shalom. And I just wanted to, do a lesson that's been on my spirit. All right, and the title of this lesson is going to be that agitations will only increase. And as we get closer to the downfall of Esau Edom, the so-called white man, beginning with the elites, he's coming, Esau's coming down with great wrath. And so is the spiritual demon Satan, who controls Esau Edom. And his minions, his principalities, his, the left hand ultimately is coming down with great wrath. All right, and those of us that serve Yahweh Ba'ashem in truth and in sincerity are going to be tested. We're going to be tried, on levels that we've never been tried upon. All right, the average Jake can't take, a lot amount of pressure. This is why you see Jake crashing out. All right, at high levels, you see so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans crashing out, man, day in and day out, because they don't have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that we do. All right, but within that, the agitations are going to increase. All right, this is why me myself, man, I've been noticing. You Akim, you Akwaf, you may have been noticing as well that the spiritual attacks are becoming stronger, okay? Whether it's your family, all right, your children, your woman, your job, okay, people around you, all right, that are on these jobs, your boss, for some reason they're against you, right? And that's not by coincidence, man. Though it's the spirits that are on them, all right, that are trying to overthrow you, all right, that are trying to agitate you to get out the spirit, man. Let's go ahead and get this, okay? AI overview of Revelations 12 and 12, all right? And it says this verse describes the situation where the devil, all right, who's the devil? Esau Edom, okay, also known as Satan, okay, the adversary, all right, which is the so-called white man, but he's being controlled by who? The spiritual demon Satan. Is cast out of heaven. That's off. All right, the spiritual demon Satan works for the Heavenly Father. All right, and onto earth. Okay, that's false. All right, while heaven and those who dwell there are called to rejoice, the inhabitants of the earth and sea are warned of impending trouble due to the devil's great wrath and limited time. All right. And Esau knows, okay, beginning with the spiritual demon Satan, who controls Esau. All right. Esau knows, okay, through the left hand, dealing with his spirits that he deals with, he knows that his time is short. All right. This is why you see these laws being rushed, okay, into into legislation, so to speak. He is aware that his time, he is aware. Okay, so AI knows, all right? AI knows, man. Esau Edom is aware that his time on earth is short. All right, so Esau knows that he has but a short time. Okay, and he's gonna send, he's gonna send everything he has at the men of the Lord, all right, and true believers and worshipers of Yahweh Shemel Shai. He will use this time to inflict as much damage as possible, all right, agitating, man. Okay, the agitations are only going to increase as we get closer and closer to Esau Edom's kingdom falling, all right. The agitations are going to increase, man. All right, and we have to prepare ourselves for these agitations. All right, the spirits that are on these people, here in this matrix. All right, everyone, being in this matrix, everyone is a potential agent. All right, anyone who's outside this truth is a potential agent, man. They can be swayed and turned by the spiritual demon Satan. All right, because this world is under a heavy form of witchcraft. Ultimately, these people are enchanted with Esau, man. These people believe, especially Jake, the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, they are truly enchanted by Esau, the so-called white man. They believe everything this devil says, man. Even though it's, Esau is, he's showing himself to be the devil. All right, he's revealing himself to be the wicked. Jake still wholeheartedly believes in this man. Okay, Ephesians 6:12, and it reads, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood." All right, we don't wrestle against what you can see with the physical eye. Okay, so those agitations that you experience, they're not from the so-called flesh that we deal with. These people that you see on a day to day. All right, your coworkers, your boss, your children, your woman, people you're in close uh, proximities with. You're not dealing with them per se. You're dealing with the spirits that are on them, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. All right, these elites that control the society deal with the left hand, man. They deal with demons, man. They deal with demons directly. All right, you would tell this to the average Joe Blow, they will look at you crazy. They will look at you as if you're bugged out. All right, these people don't know and understand what's going on against spiritual wickedness in high places. Okay, this is a spiritual battle, man. Okay, this is why, like I said, that those agitations are going to increase. Being agitated, being provoked, being those demonic spirits trying to pull you out of the spirit are only going to increase. All right, it ain't gonna get no easier, man. All right, these left-handed spirits ain't gonna let up. Okay, they're gonna do, what the spiritual demon tells them to do. Okay, via Yahweh Shemashai, ultimately because the Lord controls these left-handed spirits. Okay, Ephesians 6:13. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of the Heavenly Father Yahweh, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. Okay, we got to take on the whole armor. All right, the armor of the Heavenly Father is the scriptures, man. Okay, prayer, fasting, and the scriptures is the whole armor of the Heavenly Father. All right, that you can't do one without the other, man. Okay, you're not gonna be able to blast your way out. You ain't gonna be able to talk your way out. All right, none of those things are gonna work against these left-handed spirits that are on these people. Ultimately, okay, it's gonna be through the scriptures, man. All right, just like Yahweh Shai, battled the spiritual demon Satan. All right, after he came off that fast, he battled him with the word of the Heavenly Father. All right, that's the only way, man. Okay, Jake, you got Jake out here trying to, battle these spirits. Okay, with the wrong armor, man. They ain't fully, they ain't fully armored. All right, they ain't got they full armor on, man. Jake, this is why Jake crashing out. All right, Jake ain't winning, the battles against the agitations of Satan, man, the spiritual demon Satan and his physical counterpart Esau Edom. Okay, let's go to Luke 22:28, and it reads, "Ye are they which have continued with me in my temptations." All right, hey man, there's going to be manifold temptations that are coming down the pipeline, man. Okay, and that main temptation is that MOT to the B, which Esau setting up. Okay, right in front of you people's eyes. Esau setting it up, man. That's gonna be that major that major agitation. Okay, temptation, man. All right, that MOT to the B, which is the micro C hit. Luke 22:29, and I appoint unto you a kingdom as my Father have appointed unto me. All right. Hey, the Lord is he already laid on his life for the hopefully late, man. Okay, to receive that kingdom, the glorious kingdom, man. Luke 22:30, that ye may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom and sit on the throne judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, this is what we're fighting for. This is what we're going through all, the hell that we catch. All right, the agitation, the temptations, man, in this flesh. Luke 22:31, and the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan have desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. All right, the spiritual demon Satan and his physical counterpart desire to have us, desire to overthrow us, desire to agitate us. All right, on a day-to-day basis, man, it's not gonna stop. All right, okay, it never stops, man. All right, hey, the scriptures say what Satan went away for a season. All right, but what, you gonna come back, man? You have those times where you kind of things may seem okay, you kind of coasting along, but then you have those times where you catching pure hell, man. Hey, that's how the game goes. All right, that's Satan desiring to sift us, man, to to agitate us to the point of overthrow. All right, that's the job of the spiritual demon Satan. All right, and we have to know and recognize that. Okay, and know that the agitations they're only going to increase. It's not gonna get easier, man. Jake, that's why Jake has a problem with the Hebrew Israelites. All right, this is why Jake has a problem with this truth, because his truth requires it requires sacrifice. It requires a path of difficulty, man. This ain't easy. All right, it ain't easy, man. Dealing with spirits constantly coming up against you. All right, this is why Jake leaves the truth. Because Jake in their minds like, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up to be constantly attacked, constantly challenged. Jake don't like hard work, man, for the most part, man. Jake don't like, this is why Jake don't like those physical laborers type of jobs, man. All right? Jake don't really mess with it like that, man. Those type of jobs. Jake wants the easy way. All right, but that ain't the way the Lord set it up. Okay, let's go to Matthew 4:2, and it reads, and when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward in hunger, speaking about Yahushua, man. Okay, this is when Satan comes, all right, in full attack mode, when you're weakened, so to speak, man. Matthew 4:3, and when the tempter came to him, okay, who's the tempter? The spiritual demon Satan. All right. And Satan, the spiritual demon Satan, is gonna come hard in these last days. All right. Very hard, man. Okay, you can see it, man. Jumping on Jake to come up against this truth. Jumping on your boss, all right, your coworkers, people within your family. All right, he said, if thou be the Son of God, Yahweh, command these stones to be made bread. All right, attempting Yahushua, Matthew 4:4, and it reads, but he answered and said, it is written. So the Lord combated him with the scriptures. Okay, this is our defense. This is our go-to. Okay, when we're being challenged, when we're being tempted, when we're being agitated, you got to revert back to the scriptures. It's easier said than done, but this is how we gonna win. Okay, via the scriptures, via the word of the Lord, man. All right. Anytime you step outside of thus saith the Lord, you gonna lose. Okay, I'm speaking. You Akim, you Aquafno. If you've going through certain experience, you know what I'm talking about, man. All right. Anytime you step out of what the Lord has written, all right, and you go according to your own opinion, you get jacked up. All right, you lose, man. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Most High God Yahweh, man. So this word is our defense against the agitations of the spiritual demon Satan and his physical counterpart. All right, the word of the Heavenly Father, man. Okay, this is what's gonna get us through. All right, this is what's gonna allow us to combat the agitations of Satan. All right, let's get this word agitate. Okay, and it reads make someone troubled or nervous, and this is what the spiritual demon Satan, okay, along with Esau Edom, is trying to do. All right, trouble us, make us doubt, make us nervous. Okay, can read and on stir or disturb something, especially liquid. Okay, but the main point, stir, disturb. All right. These spirits, the spiritual demon Satan is trying to disturb us, man. All right, stir us up, man. To what? Get us out the spirit. Get us to crash out, like you see Jay, crashing out all over the internet, man. All right, you can go on TikTok and YouTube and see Jay crashing out, man, all over the internet, man. You got Jake, man, crashing out over Eve. All right, over women in general, man. Jake is just bugging and crashing out. All right, James 4:4. Okay, let's go to this, and it reads, "But he giveth more grace. Wherefore he saith, the Most High God Yahweh resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble." Man. All right, this is why we are to remain humble. Okay, we can't get proud in this thing. We can't think, we're capable of doing things on our own. All right, we need the Lord. James 4:7. Submit yourselves, therefore, to the Most High God Yahweh. Resist the devil, and he will flee from thee. All right, we gotta resist those, those urges in the flesh, those temptations. All right, those agitations, man, that want to pull us away from the Lord and out the Spirit. Especially, I would say the workplace, man. Hey, your job, your workplace, where you spend, the most of your time, is where you face those agitations. All right, where you face those temptations, man. All right, whether it be your boss, constantly, on your case. All right, trying to, upset you. Whether it be, a woman on your job, she got that adulterous spirit on her. All right, she got a man, but she all on your line, giving you play, things of that nature, man. Those are all, the devil, man. All right, those are all, agitations and temptations. All right, and these things, like I said, they're only going to increase in these last days. Okay, because the devil knows he has but a short time. All right, but we gotta resist. Okay, and what's our main form of resistance? The scriptures. Okay, studying, reading. All right, let's go ahead and grab this word resist, and then we'll close out, and Lord willing, this be edifying. All right, resist. One, withstand the action or effect of. Two, refrain from doing or having something tempting or unwise. All right, we gotta refrain from giving into that agitation. All right, giving into the temptations. All right, this is how a lot of Jake. Okay, even those who know that they're Israelites, this is how they overcome. They're overcome. All right, they give in to the temptation, man. They give in to the flesh. All right, they give in to being overthrown, man. That whether it's anger, all right, it's lust, sexual lust or whatever, man. Whatever is your weak point. Satan is he's going to poke. If that armor, all right, speaking for myself first and foremost, okay, if that armor has holes in it, Satan he's gonna poke there constantly, man. It's not gonna be, all right, a one time thing. No, man, Satan's gonna constantly attack. He's gonna constantly poke. All right, and I'm speaking for myself. All right, anger. Anger is and still is. All right, but is a major agitation, all right, for me. And the Heavenly Father was keeping me in a position to where I had to battle and overcome, okay, that anger demon, man. All right, being constantly attacked, being constantly poked, all right, to the point where now, okay, you know, through prayer, through constant prayer, man, I was able to overcome that anger demon, man. All right, to now where I see you can recognize and see Satan, man. All right, see where he's trying to agitate you, and you combat it through what? Through the scriptures, man. All right, a man, roughly paraphrasing, a man who can't control his anger is like a city, without walls. All right, you revert back to the scriptures, man. Okay, but with that, we'll close this lesson out, little one. It was edifying. Till next time, shalom.